Welcome back to No Better Arguments Player Breakdown series. So today we'll be looking at Julius Randle. Now, he faced the Atlanta Hawks yesterday at home, and he was crucial. Definitely the main reason as to why they were able to pick up a very nice victory yesterday. So just to set the scene for how Randle's been going this season, he's averaging more points than Towns and Davis, more rebounds than Embiid and Bam Adebayo, more assists than Drew Holiday and Donovan Mitchell, and finally he's shooting a higher percentage from three than Damian Lillard and Buddy Hield. So with all those comparables that I just threw out, it's clear he's having an unbelievable season. So let's get into the footage from yesterday's game. The positives. So we'll start with the scoring. I'll put in clips here from his first and third quarter. In the first quarter, he had 17 points alone. In the third quarter, he dropped 12 points as well. So it's no doubt impressive, the variety of ways he's scoring the ball, but what stands out to me is the consistency of his shooting. It's ridiculous. So he's a career 30% shooter from deep, but he's shooting 40% from three-point range this season, which is unreal. Very interested to see if this is something sustainable or he'll finish up in the mid-30s come the end of the season. So yesterday's game in particular, shot 7 of 13 from deep, was just absolutely lethal from the perimeter, and that completely opens up the rest of his game due to how a defender has to play him if he's knocking down that outside shot at such a ridiculous rate. I love the playmaking as well this season in particular. He's averaging 5.5 assists. So whether it's making a quick decision and getting the ball out of his hands when he's double teamed so it can get swung to a guy to have a pretty good shot, or he's making a quick pass to an open shooter in the flow of the offense. That's two things that really help the Knicks this season. Very Draymond-esque in that way. And further to being a mini Draymond, I love it when Julius gets the defensive rebound and brings the ball up the court and initiates offense, because that's obviously where you get cross matches and guys are defending people they don't want to because, they're getting back in transition, and so they're not able to set themselves because they've obviously got Julius Randle, who's a bull, bringing the ball down the court, ready to attack you straight away. Favorite play out of any play he made yesterday was in the final stages of the game. He finds RJ Barrett on the wing to knock down a big three to give New York a nice buffer where they were able to then go on and close out the game. Now, the negatives. We'll kick things off with defense. So he does fall asleep on this side of the ball at times, and I'll talk through 3 clips of possessions where I thought he could be a little bit better. So this first one, there's no need to help this far off John Collins. He's obviously a good enough shooter at that 4 spot, small ball 5 spot, that you just don't want to leave him with too much room from the perimeter, because then he starts to get hot. You then start to close out too hard and he can then open up the rest of his game. So just be a little bit smarter in that position. You don't need to help that far off John Collins. In this second clip, I get if you take a lot of long shots that sometimes it can involve the guy, contesting it to quickly get a run out if it's, a bad miss. And in this case, Collins leaked out straight away. Randle lost track of him, and that resulted in a very quick basket for the Atlanta Hawks. And then finally here, you see Randle is in a pretty good position in front of potentially where the ball could be thrown into from that particular angle, thrown into Clint Capella. But Randle somehow lets it get past him. So when you're in that position, you've got to have active hands. You've got to be, making sure you're disrupting that passing lane and ensuring that there's absolutely no way Trae Young can get it in from that angle, and he has to kick it around the perimeter to find a better angle to fire it into Capella. But there's no way Julius should be letting that get through. Even though it doesn't result in a basket, it's still not good enough in terms of ensuring that just passes like that don't find the mark when there's 2 bodies there stopping it. Then the turnovers. So I get with a high usage rate normally comes some errors, especially when a guy is given so much responsibility to not only create for himself but others. You can see in these clips here in particular, just not being smart enough and patient enough to find the right guy when the double team is sent to you. Throws a couple turnovers in particular to Kevin Huerter. And then the other one is just knowing your personnel. So Nerlens Noel is a lob threat. You really want to ensure that the pass is, above the rim for him to go and get. Instead, it's Randle kind of throws the ball under the defender. I think it was Capella. And it's forced way too hard at Noel's kind of head. Obviously, can't control it, and it's a turnover. So a couple of things like that, if he's able to clean up, can really turn into such an awesome player and be super productive if he isn't already. But it's just really nitpicking at this stage because his high usage rate really just only infers that you're gonna have a couple of mistakes throughout the game. So Randle finished with 44 points. He's having a phenomenal year. He should be an all-star in my mind. He's had that good of a season. He's taken his game to a whole new level. Yes, you can look at the weaknesses or deficiencies he has on defense, or sometimes he's really sloppy with the ball and can turn it over. But again, you go back to the usage rate, bound for mistakes to happen. He's playing under Tibbs, so that means a ton of minutes. He's asked to do so much offensively that I think it can all be forgiven, because the Knicks are just below 500 and they're sitting at 6th in the East in the playoff race. So definitely a lot to like from Randle and the Knicks this season. So that's it for this player breakdown. Speak to you guys soon.